began to tax.
And this guy was a tyrant king on steroids.
And it all began when America had finally had enough. That the time was right. We should go to war because we needed to be free men. You all know the last line when he said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Give me death. You know, most of the people in this country have never even read the Declaration of Independence. And they do not know what it means to truly live like free men and women. Today, we hope you will realize what it means to declare independence and then to commit to keep America the land of the free. America has always been the hope of the world. People have immigrated here for years, and the one reason they do it is because of our biggest asset, freedom. This gift of freedom is a treasure that we normally don't appreciate because we have always had freedom in our lives. The gift is found in the story of the founding of America. And it all began when America had finally had enough. England began to tax colonies to pay for the wars. These rules were supposed to break the spirit of America. But it did just the opposite.
Is there ever a time that it'd be okay to be a slave? No, never.
1774, the colonists threw tea in the Boston Harbor. I can tell you that was a great day.
Going against the king is no matter just they're going against the church and the king is the head of it. It's treason.
What word did Thomas Jefferson use to describe the King of England? Of all the options and the potentials he had, he described him every time as a tyrant.
Government should be simple, but England's government is very complicated. People should not be subject to kings.
We would have worked with King George if he would have worked with us, but he wouldn't. And because he wouldn't, we declared our independence.
Behind the gun is safe, in front of the gun is bad.
Now, if you didn't get the burning flannel out, and if you didn't quench it, when you shove that to the back, what's going to happen?
It's going to shoot out and then wax.
Yeah, this is going to come out and...
Was there ever a time where you were seriously scared for your life?
We saw the bombs coming all around us.
Once the Bible was translated into English and given to the common man, that changed everything because they started thinking for themselves.
From now on, you are all delegates in the Continental Congress, and we need to make a decision as to what we shall do.
Knowing that at any moment the door can burst open and the army comes in and hauls you off to prison.
Most people thought war with Great Britain was an impossible undertaking. Why? They were the strongest, largest, most well-trained army in the world. John Adams, Samuel Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and George Washington knew that war was inevitable.
No money, anything that they had left, some of the women had these things hiding under their dresses. So the army comes and captures them, strips them down.
They signed the Declaration of Independence knowing full well the penalty would be death if they were captured. They signed and they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. From every hill and every valley in New England, men dropped everything they were doing and joined their militia leaders. But the colonists were untrained. Great Britain General Howe sailed into New York Harbor with 30,000 troops and the largest armada which had ever been assembled. Signing the Declaration today means that each and every one of you will forever be declared a traitor and subject to death by hanging.
What's the ultimate sacrifice that a military person is willing to make? Death. Death.
Are you willing to move forward? Very good. As a founding patriot, you have a responsibility to understand what our country needs and then to act upon it.
How many have heard separation of church and state? You guys are smarter than 75% of Americans, including adults, because 70% of American adults believe that the separation of church and state is actually in the Constitution of the United States.
Is there ever a time it would be okay to be a slave? No, never.
There's a difference between a republic and a democracy because words have meaning. And so how do you actually know what they meant in those words? You got to study history.
General Washington was there, and we won. We drove the British out of Boston.
Is what separates us from all other nations. In America, nobody is above anyone else, and nobody is above the law.
So if you call somebody a tyrant, that is the worst thing you can call. It implies it's somebody who has total power, and they don't care about anybody else. They're going to do it, and their intent is bad and evil.
Rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God. So recognize that when you are standing up to tyrants, you have God on your side.
We don't want to be forced to do it or be told by somebody else that they have to do it. Hope, would you want to go in and boss these guys around and tell them what they have to do and how they spend their money?
Some people like doing that. I know a lot of people in our government who like doing that right now. And that creates lack of freedom, right? It creates slavery.
The only responsibility the federal government has to have is provide military defense. So the most important thing this Constitution can do is provide for the common defense. That was essential.
There are men and women out there that are making sacrifices so that we can be free. Yeah, and if it's not for freedom, then we shouldn't be doing it, should we?
Freedom Commitment number 9 says, I will do my part to help America remain free and independent republics.
Liberty is worth sacrificing life, fortune, and sacred honor.
Okay, so that's the question. What are you willing to sacrifice for freedom? So you will need to make a conscious decision to risk everything you have to be free men and women. Are you willing to risk all of these things for your freedom?
Say, I love my country.
So, preamble of the Constitution, as you all know, starts off with we're the people of the United States. It's for the people. This is not a treaty. This is the higher law.
When you see those things that are not right, act upon them.
If Congress doesn't understand what these words mean and the symbolism of these words and the definition of these words, then we screw up your entire life. And you need to be able to understand that so you can have your elected officials and hold them accountable to understanding the definition of the words.
This is the only republic in the history of the world that was ever put together by men who truly believed that God was guiding them.
Blessings come from God. Liberty is what God wants you to have. This is a religious document.
Anybody who says that religion was not a part of early American history is just not telling you the truth.
We mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor. Now, sign your Declaration of Independence as a founding patriot. My fellow patriots and Americans, I thank you for your time.
Sacrifice. It's a big thing.
A bunch of lights went on for me.
I really liked it, and I learned a lot, and I'm really inspired.
We got to learn more about the Declaration of Independence and why it is important.
Freedom, yes. Here, if I end up losing it, I still can have the courage to say I fought for it.
And how I can defend those better, just being an example and appreciating those servicemen that go out and defend these freedoms for me.
I know some of my friends don't really pay much attention to history class and all that. Yeah, they should care. Because I think it is really important to know what we did in the past, and so we don't make the same mistake in the future.